Hey everybody, Brendan Coates here. And in this video, I want to talk about psoriasis. I have been seeing a lot about psoriasis on my Instagram stories, and I'm seeing a lot of advertisements that look like this, talking about clinical trials for individuals with psoriasis. And it's just popping up on my feeds. I actually have someone who's just asking me about psoriasis, and I said, I'm actually making a post today about psoriasis. And I want to share with you a really fantastic testimonial of a client that I worked with who is also recovered from psoriasis. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Brendan. I'm also known as the Gut Whisperer, and I help people achieve better health by acting on their guts and their digestion through my 5-step process. It's called GFL, How to Live a Gut-Friendly Lifestyle. So in this video, I'm going to share with you kind of the basic anatomy of the skin. Now, just a disclaimer, I am not a skin expert. I am not a dermatologist, and I'm not even saying that I know much about skin, because I don't. But what I do know is I know gut health, and I know that our guts are largely responsible for all of the functions of all the rest of our body systems. And if we have a dysbiosis, or if we have a compromised gut function, other systems in our bodies will express different forms of sicknesses or imbalances. And those with psoriasis, they tend to have their weakest link in their genetics being their skin. And if you have a dysbiosis in the gut, those with psoriasis will show an expression of peely skin, itchy skin, scaly skin. And I'm going to show this right now. So let's take a look at it really quick. Okay, so what we're looking at is normal skin, someone who has psoriasis. I'm not going to go in depth of all of these several layers of the skin, but I'm just going to briefly explain what's happening. So what's happening, someone who has psoriasis, there is a proliferation of these top layer of skin cells. And what's happening, they're basically dying off too quick. They're not allowed the time to mature. And that's what's happening with these skin cells. They're just always flaking off. So underneath, we need to look at what's happening underneath. And basically, within these skin cells, there's not a lot of things happening. There's not a lot of things that are basically infiltrating or surfacing up from the blood. Where in someone with psoriasis, there is. Now, these are all like immune bodies and T cells and macrophages and whatnot. But someone who has psoriasis, there is definitely a factor of undigested proteins and undigested food molecules and other sort of environmental factors that are basically invading via the blood into kind of like invading through these protective skin cells, and they're going into the surface of the skin, and then they're being exposed, and they're just basically manipulating the way the skin cells normally mature. And that's what's happening. So we need to look at that. And again, I am not an expert on skin, but I know how the skin works, and I know how the body works, and I know how the gut works. So I'm going to share with you what mainstream medicine looks like when they treat and when they approach psoriasis. And I'm going to show, again, those stories that have been on my page talking about clinical trials. I know that I wouldn't want to be part of a clinical trial. And we've heard this language before, safe.
We have two vaccines that are really quite effective, highly effective, virtually 100% efficacious.
And effective, and we all know what direction that goes. And then I'm going to share with you a testimonial of her name is Jen. She's just sharing, and it's very, very authentic. And you can decide which direction you would like to go. And again, I have created a course. It's an educational course, but at the same time, I work with you as an individual, and I work with your gut, and I work with your stomach, and I work with your skin to reverse all of these issues. Now, I can't say the word cure, and I'm not going to say the word cure. And everyone is case by case. I don't know if I can help with your psoriasis, but what I do know is I can help with your overall health. And I do know that I can help with your gut function. And I do know that I can help with your stomach function. And you may not even correlate your gut and your stomach to your psoriasis or your eczema for that matter. But I do make that connection. So I know that I can help with your function of your gut and your overall health. And in turn, I'm pretty sure that will improve your skin conditions. It certainly won't hurt. You make the choice.
Psoriasis is a lifelong condition, and there is no cure. Effective therapies are available for patients to be as clear as possible for as long as possible. We recommend gentle skincare for all patients. This includes mild soaps or cleansers and the use of moisturizers. We frequently prescribe anti-inflammatory creams and ointments that are safe, effective, and well tolerated. Phototherapy, or light therapy, is a great option for more widespread disease. We use a specific wavelength of light that's anti-inflammatory to calm the skin. Oral and injectable medications are also available and, although intimidating, are incredibly effective and have a great safety profile. Just like for psoriasis confined to the skin, we utilize those oral and injectable medications. Dermatologists at Johns Hopkins are aware that psoriasis is more than just skin deep. We understand the difficulties that patients face on a day-to-day basis. We're at the cutting edge of medical research and have the tools and training to safely and effectively treat this disorder.
These are the moments that, I want to share, not selfishly. Obviously, I want to drive business, but at the same time, it's more so like real people can have real results. And like, if you just have belief and you just do it and you follow along what you've done, and you've had conviction the whole time, and you've dedicated yourself, and you've really invested, like you tune into the calls, you ask questions. How can you fail? You can't.
Right.
So you did all the work. You did all the work.
And I love that everybody's got their different goals, like weight loss, like, digestive things like migraines and psoriasis and all of that stuff. And everybody's goal was achieved because of this. And that's huge. That is huge. So, and
remember how we started. A lot of those things that you listed, those are indirect.
Right. So.
Hi guys, my name is Jen. I just graduated from the Leaky Gut Program 2.0 with the Gut Whisperer. I'm here today to talk to you about how life-changing it was for me. I can't imagine where my life would be right now if I did not take this program. I'd been struggling my whole life with psoriasis and anxiety and migraines and weight loss ups and downs. Tried several programs and nothing really seemed to help me. I had been on medications for my migraines. I had been on medications for my psoriasis. And it was enough. So I was working with a personal trainer who had been working also with Brendan. And I saw how her body was just changing both on the inside and out. And she was seeing such fast results as she was struggling as well. So I was intrigued. I reached out to Brendan and told him about my psoriasis and told him about my migraines and my anxiety and my weight loss issues, and, wanted to see if this was something that potentially could be helped with this program. And he informed me that it is exactly what is needed for me to heal. So I signed up and worked diligently. I told him I would do whatever it was going to take because this was kind of one of those last straws. I didn't know else where to turn. It just had to work. I didn't know what other option I had, and I did not want to see other doctors and all that. So I started to work with him, and I would say probably by day 3, 4, I started to feel a little better and a little better. I was starting to notice that I wasn't having as many migraines as they were usually daily. My anxiety was it was frequent, but I noticed that I have not had any anxiety episodes. But more importantly, I would say probably even by week 1, midweek 1, I always have a tendency to reach behind my head because that's where my psoriasis has been such an issue. And I was noticing that I'm not feeling anything anymore. And this is interesting. I haven't itched. When I get my hair done, it's not burning. And so I immediately send something to Brendan and I'm like, all right, this is too good to be true. And he's just like, no, Jen, this is what's supposed to happen. You're healing your gut. And so the fact that all of those things that I was having issues with were starting to make slow changes throughout the program, they got even better and better and better. And I felt better and better and better, to the point where I cannot imagine what my life right now would be like if I did not meet the Gut Whisperer, as well as go through this program. It is 1,000% worth the investment. Brendan would not let me say I can't. He would not let me say it's too hard, because he is with you, even though he's in a different space than me. You know, he's in Canada, I'm in the United States. He was my cheerleader, and he was accessible, and he responded promptly, and everything that I would ask him, he would walk me through. Like I said, holding my hand every step of the way, encouraging me, which is huge when you're doing something so life-changing. And this was literally life-changing. I was fearful at first if it wasn't going to work, but it was such a game changer in my life. Like, it just, even my husband says to me, like, I can't imagine, like, I can't believe how my life has changed. So I would say, if you are a person that suffers from psoriasis, migraines, anxiety, GI issues, heartburn, gas. I noticed that my heartburn was going away. I wasn't burping as much anymore. If you're one of those people that has those issues, it doesn't need to be all. It could be one. It could be periodic. It could be all the time. You need to reach out and join this program and talk to Brendan. You know, tell him your issues, because he will change your life. That's really all I got to say. I mean, I could probably end up talking forever and tell you all my experiences, but I will leave you to talk to him and see how he can change your life as well. Have a great day.
So you get to decide, because it certainly won't hurt. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a link right now. You can register for a free webinar training that I recently recorded, and you get to see hundreds of testimonials of other successful students that have reversed their health issues, all by addressing their gut. And then also underneath, I'll put a bootcamp link. You can take a look at the bootcamp, and you can see exactly what it looks like when you and I work together, and you can register right away.